Namaskaram, everyone. Welcome to the Stories That Shine with Supriya, where conversations inspire and every story connects us. So, today I'm going to start my new journey as a podcaster, and I need all your wishes, love, and support. Thank you. So, before getting into my interview, let me introduce my first ever guest of my first ever podcast. She will always remain very special to me. Because of her, today I'm fulfilling my dream. So, who is she and how did I meet her? Before getting into that, I need to tell you a small interesting thing. So, I always wanted to become a doctor, but I couldn't. And then I thought, like, maybe a doctor husband. That also didn't happen. But see the destiny. Today, I'm here fulfilling my dream with a doctor. I mean, interviewing a doctor. That's called a surreal experience. So, and coming to her, I saw her on Insta and her bio was very interesting for me. So I just approached her for the podcast. And when I went to her, I said, like, I'm a newbie. Of course, I am, right? And then I had briefly said, like, why I want to start this journey. And you people don't believe her instant reply was, yes, I'm going to do this. It was really a pleasant surprise for me, and I was so happy. And I was like, oh, thank you so much, because it was really, really a big surprise for me. No further questions. I'm a newbie, man. Nothing. She just said, yes, I'm going to do this. So today I'm here with her, fulfilling my dream. So without any further delay, let me welcome my guest for today. She is Namma Kannada Hudigi, doctor and an artist, Miss Dr. Bhumika Anant. Welcome to my show, Bhumika.
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. And thank you so much for accepting my request and supporting a newbie like me. It truly means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, yeah, firstly, Bhumika, tell me how to pronounce your Insta handle and what is it about?
Okay, I get this question a lot.
Is
It's
it?
called creativity.
Creativity.
So
Okay.
a lot of my friends used to call me B when I was growing up,
Oh.
and I was very creative. So it's pretty lame. Creativity became creativity.
Oh, okay, okay. Very nice. Yeah, so cute.
Thank you.
Yeah. And one more thing, like, tell me the reason behind, like, when I approached you for the podcast, it was an instant S. And I want to know the reason because it was so sweet of you.
Because so I'm still a growing artist, and we didn't hit 10K followers until I think 6 months ago, and it took us exactly 3 years to get to 10K followers.
Okay. 3 years.
Yeah, and it took us a lot of hard work. My team behind it, my partner is my videographer and editor and everything, and it took us such a huge time to get to 10K followers. And that wouldn't have been possible if I didn't have people constantly saying yes to all of my wildest dreams. Creativity wouldn't have existed if my best friends and my partners wouldn't say, you know what, yeah, why not? We can do it.
Yeah.
So
cute.
even now, and if anyone comes over to me and they're like, okay, can I do this with you? My instant reaction is always a yes,
Yes.
because if you can be a stepping stone in someone's success, you should definitely take the chance on them.
Absolutely lovely, actually. I felt so happy that day because, see, there were no further questions. First thing, what I felt like different. See, like your bio also, because I have approached like 3 to 4, not many. And everybody, like, they were like busy. They said, like, okay, but then they were busy, but then they asked questions. Like, that's natural, right? When somebody, approaches. But then you are the only one in it. Was like a pleasant surprise when, if you can remember, I was like, oh, thank you so much. I said that, right? So it was so good. Thank you. And can you please tell us about a little more about you, like your childhood, about your parents, and maybe where are you from? Something.
Perfect. So I am a Kannada Throdgi, and my parents are both doctors, but I grew up with my grandparents.
Oh.
So I was extremely pampered as a child.
I can understand.
My grandpa was always very artistically inclined to making me an artist, if that makes sense. So there were times when my parents would say, do you really need this paint? And my grandmother would say, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ paint ಮಾಡಿ ಬಿಸಾಕ್ತಾಳೆ. She makes the whole house dirty. But then my grandpa would be the first person to say, it's okay, I'll clean it off.
Wow.
I'll clean it off.
So
but I'll
cute.
go buy everything. So we would go to Avenue Road for buying all of my art supplies, and this man would come with a checkbook.
Uh-huh.
He wouldn't get cash. He would come with a checkbook
Okay.
saying, "I know how much my granddaughter will
Oh,
spend."
that's so cute. Huh?
So he always supported me throughout my artistic journey, and throughout school there were so many state level and national level competitions, and he'd be the person driving me to them. He'd be the person waiting outside for me, and he'd be like, "Yeah, I know she's going to come out with a trophy," and he would be so nonchalant about it.
I know. Huh?
And even at home, right? It wasn't like he would see my work and he would say, "Very nice, but the eyes could be better." And he would give me the criticism that I required to get better at what I did. But when someone walked into the house, the first thing he would say is, "Did you see that trophy? My granddaughter got that trophy." She went 50 kilometers to go get that trophy. And then he would explain, "This is what she did. This is the artwork she did."
Yeah, very proud of you, probably. Okay. So your parents are doctors.
Yes.
But then you were with your grandparents, matlab, in different house.
Yes.
Okay.
So my brother and I grew up with my grandparents for the last 23 years of my life.
Oh.
I'm 24 right now.
Oh, okay. Huh.
So, yeah.
Where your parents were? Where were they?
They were in Frasertown, Shivaji.
Oh, acha.
So they have a clinic over there. They have a nursing home. And for the greater part of 2010s, they also had a 50-bed nursing home in Hosur. And after COVID, they thought, okay, now we need to focus on ourselves. We need to focus on our health as well as the patient's health. And they closed the Hosur Road one and moved back to Shivaji Nagar.
Oh, okay.
So my parents are very Bagman Bondi characters because my dad especially is a very good Samaritan person. So he will focus on the crowd that cannot afford Sagar but cannot wait for Bowring. And he brings them in, he gets their operations done. He's a surgeon, by the way, so he loves cutting into people.
Okay.
He gets such a high out of it.
Oh
My God, come, let me save your life.
Okay. Yeah, that's so sweet of him. Yeah. Right.
So both my parents have always been very patient focused, not even career focused. It was always, I need to help someone so that they can help someone out when they can. So
that's what you imbibed.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, like, you were a doctor. I mean, you are a doctor.
I am a doctor. I graduated 6 months ago.
Oh, is it? Oh, fresher.
Yeah.
Okay. No, you did your just housey and you're out.
Yes.
Okay.
My internship. But somewhere in the third year of my internship, I realized that it was so stressful for me, but it wasn't giving me the satisfaction when I would get back the good grades. So I remember 10th standard, 11th, 12th, I would work so hard to get good grades, come back home, and like everyone would be happy. Oh, 96 month, 97 month, they'd be so happy about it. But with medicine, like, it's a well-known fact. You cannot get something. You get a 70 in medicine and that's also like, oh my God, you did so well. And I would get that 70, 72, 75 and come home and I would never be happy with it. I would put in the hard work because the human body is a magical machine. And like, having the privilege to learn about it is unparalleled. But at the same time, even after putting in all that effort to learn about the body and then, going and vomiting it out on a white sheet of paper, getting those good grades, it never made me feel very fulfilled. And I think it was around that time that COVID also was just, the lockdown had just lifted and my parents were admitted for COVID. Both of them together got COVID. And my dad forced everyone in St. John's to give them the couple room because they don't even eat food without each other.
That's okay. It's so sweet, yeah? Okay.
And, he was complaining, you guys did come to see me when I had COVID. And I'd be like, how would we come into a COVID ward to come see you?
Correct. They will not allow also.
They won't allow, yeah. But they were in quarantine for, I think, 15 days. And that was a very emotionally taking time for me. So that's when I started painting like a crazy person. And when I ran out of canvases, I started painting on myself. So I would paint all over my chest and my face and hands and everything.
During the COVID time?
Yeah. And slowly after that, I realized that this was not a canvas that was big enough for me. And that's when I started painting on the walls of my house, the terrace of my house. And my granny said, I will kick you out of the house. So I started approaching NGOs, and I was like, okay, I'll come and I'll paint with you guys, because at the end of the day, I had this insatiable obsession with just painting on a huge wall. And it was nothing like, okay, people will see it. It wasn't like I'm going to put this on social media, which I should have. I would have grown so much faster if I did, but it was mostly just, I want to do this because it's making me feel alive. And I hadn't felt alive in almost 3 years since I joined med school.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. And that time you don't even feel like, exposing yourself because you're doing for your happiness, no?
And I think it's very, people, right? If an engineer steps up and they say, no, I don't want to work in my 9-to-5 job. I'm going to go start my own startup. I'm going to leave my job to become an artist. As a, oh my God, look, that's a success story. He's leaving everything to do that. But when a doctor does the same thing, when a doctor even shows that, I have an interest that isn't just studying, isn't just being in the hospital, people look at it as, oh, this is time that you're wasting instead of helping someone else. And people never really understand that to sustain as a human being, you need hobbies, you need art, you need an outlet. So even when I took the leap of, no, medicine is not going to be my full-time career, I want to be a full-time artist first and a part-time medico, it was met with a lot of backlash, if not from my immediate family, from everyone around me. Because even to this day, I'm earning a lot, I'm making great art, I'm getting recognized by people. There are a lot of times when people still walk up to me and say, but you wasted 5 years of your life. At least for that you become a doctor. At least for that you do PG. There are people who walk up to me to say, you wasted a medical seat. You wasted this. You're wasting that. You wasted this. And I'm just like, okay, I only don't mind that I wasted. Why are you so concerned?
Correct. So you never bothered all this?
Yeah, I didn't have to, because at the end of the day, I wanted to be content with what I'm doing. And thankfully, it all worked out really well. And now I have the community, I have people who still show up every workshop and they say, yeah, I had fun, so I'm going to be here. I have clients who keep coming back saying, okay, they did this entire mural in one night. I know that I can trust them with this project. And I have people who are 16, 17, 18 coming up to me going, I'm writing NEET, but I want to do art. What should I do? I will never say leave NEET, become an artist. But I will say don't give up on art just for writing NEET.
Correct. Yeah. So it's actually a very interesting journey, man. Seriously. So now you're telling that you don't want to get into medicine.
I don't think I should. Because I know how much I suffered through medicine. Because apart from all the mood disorders that came with the package, there was also this huge hole that I had which wasn't being completely filled with medicine. And I would end up filling that hole with food. So that led to a really bad eating disorder, and I ended up gaining like 30 kgs over a span of just a year, especially during my internship. And my body is the most important thing that I have.
Absolutely.
And what I do is very physically taxing as well. Painting murals, you have to stand. I think you were there in airlines.
Correct.
I was standing for 8 hours straight that day.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that I'd been standing for 8 hours straight until I went home and slept on my bed. So my body is very important to me. And the minute I realized that this is the reason I have an eating disorder, the reason I'm not feeling fulfilled in life is because I'm not in a place where I should be, is when I had the push to take the leap. And sometime in my internship, I told my partner as well, I was like, I don't think I'm meant to study. I'm not meant to study medicine. I'm not supposed to go forward in this. And I really think I should take the leap and become a full-time artist.
Oh, okay. That means you just completed your medicine and you have given up.
Yes.
You don't want to get into that again. Now you're just an artist. Okay. But then if it was not a medicine, not a medical course, and it was something else, then it would have been like both, or how is it?
I think it would depend on the course again. So there are courses that are really taxing. There are courses that are... No, actually, every course is taxing in its own way.
Absolutely.
But we'll never be on the side to judge if it's taxing or not unless we're taking that course.
Correct.
So I have so many people who come to me and they say, "Oh my God, you did medicine," and I'm like, "It's okay, dude. You study for like 3 hours a day. You'll also get through. It's not something special." So I mean, I've been academically inclined, so it wasn't very taxing on me to study. What was taxing all was being in that environment.
Correct.
Very toxic people who would harass you instead of teaching you what to do. So
oh, it was also there. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't think I wanted to be in a.
Actually, an add-on for you, right?
Yes.
Because family is very important. You can't ignore them, and you have to make them happy as well.
Yeah.
Right? Being your daughter. That's good. Very interesting journey, man. Seriously, I should say. So, what are your hobbies other than art?
I read a lot. Like currently, I'm reading the Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, and yeah, I'm picking it up again. Like I lost a lot of myself during medicine, and art finally, like it resuscitated me. And it brought me back to life, and now I have all the freedom to like actually delve into things that I'm interested in. So I'm back to reading. I'm gonna start pottery soon, and I'm currently enrolled in an art therapy practitioner's course as well, so that like I can help people with what I know best.
Exactly. Yeah. That is actually very good for you people. Art therapy, right? Because it's growing now, psychology.
Exactly.
So it will help you. Yeah. So how do you describe yourself in few words? So, how do you describe yourself in few words?
I'm a full-time artist and a part-time doctor. As a person, I believe that I'm very eccentric. When you meet me in my workshop, you will see a extremely hyper ADHD child from one corner to another.
Okay.
Asking people, do you need help with that? Let me show you how that's done so that you can do it when you're back at But when I'm not surrounded by a lot of people, honestly, I think I have a little bit of social anxiety at cafe.
Oh, you are a shy person? I mean, introvert or extrovert?
I am a performative extrovert.
Oh, okay. Not even ambivert.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Something interesting people should know about you.
I know how to play the harmonica. I tried to learn it for I think 3 months, and the only song I can play on it is "Can't Help Falling in Love with You."
Oh, that's perfect for your partner.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Which values are more important to you?
Accountability.
These two.
Very important. If you're a friend of mine, I expect you to be loyal. I expect you to take accountability when you don't do something that you promised to do. So those are very important attributes. But apart from that, kindness. Something people often assume about you that's completely wrong. Head-weighted person. Because I think people tend to think that I'm a very head-weighted person, because I think that's something that I see a lot as well with anyone that's a content creator or an influencer, right? When you're walking through a crowd, the first thing the person in the crowd will say, "Oh my God, but then they actually talk to me and they're like, "Dude, why are you so nice?" And I'm like, why not? Before even talking to that person, you can't tell that. Exactly. Right? So that is the thing which is completely wrong about you. You are I'm a very nice person now. I know. I know that. What does a normal day in your life look like? Well, after medicine, a normal day in my life currently is a lot of site visits, a lot of client meetings where I have to like talk to them and be professional, which is so difficult for me because I'm so like I'm very jumpy when I'm like trying to talk about what I love to do, right? And they'll be like, "Oh, so nice, why are you so energetic?" No, actually, But I finish those, I come back home, and there'll be a lot of design work left for the projects that I have on board. I'm with my partner, chill a little bit, trying to hit the gym. Okay. But that is my weekdays. But the one thing I look forward to the most are my weekends because I get to host volleyball games. Correct. So Fridays are usually Friday mornings. My painters will call me up and they'll go for all the whitewashing work. Friday evening, I go to sketch everything out with my team. Shout out to Prajwal, a sweetheart. He's my partner's best friend.
Oh, acha.
He always shows up to come sketch with me.
So sweet.
And my best friend Yukta as well. So the two of them are always with me. We go, we sketch everything out. Saturdays are usually for setting up for Sunday. So the order lists, the inventory lists, the goodies, coordinating between the band, coordinating with the caterer who's going to come in and give snacks, coordinating with the venue so that everything's clean for tomorrow. And Sundays Wallaj again. That's the best day of the week for me because I get to meet a lot of people. And it's a very safe space because, first of all, people are paying to be there. So I want to assume that creeps will not pay too much to come. So it's a very safe space, and everyone's there to explore their artistic side, and the fact that I get to like help them do that is very fulfilling for me. It's a good idea.
So what's the most random compliment you have ever received?
I got these nails removed yesterday, but I used to have this picnic themed nail.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, for almost a month. And almost, I think 50 girls who attended the workshop would come up to me and say, I need to see your nail, I need to see your nail.
Oh, that's a... Yeah. Okay. So what's one habit you're trying and failing to quit?
Not going to the gym.
Okay.
I pay my trainer every month.
Oh.
And I never show up. He's so sweet. He called me at 5 in the morning. And I said, no, and at 10 o'clock never comes.
Okay. Then why you have to pay? I don't pay on
See, I want to be motivated. I need to know that, at any time if I want to go to the gym, I can just get up and go.
Okay, for that you're paying every month. I mean, they are very lucky then. Because, right? Okay.
See, my partner.
Yeah.
Like instantly.
So
like I'll be having the worst day, and I'll see him like towering over everyone and walking in, and I'll be like, oh my god,
towering over. That's
it's so hard to lose him in a crowd. Okay, like for me, I have to hold a balloon or something so that he doesn't lose me. But with him, is I used to look up and he'll be there.
So funny you are. Now I'm like feeling like meeting him. The way you're telling, no, lot much about him. Very good. One day I will meet him.
Yes.
Okay. So what's a guilty pleasure you secretly enjoy?
I think it's everyone's little pleasure. It's there's this place called Ganache Factory in Chinagar, and they have the best ganache cakes and the ganache tart. I think it's like 7,000 calories in this much of a bento cake.
So, if you could be known for one quality, what would it be?
I want to be known for kindness.
Same here. What's a funny or awkward moment you can laugh about now?
There have been so many, but when you ask me, like
you can't remember. Yeah. Maybe in your this thing only, art thing where people come.
We had this one workshop. It was a school that we painted in I think Pina. And we did 12 classrooms.
School.
Yes.
I saw that. Okay.
It was 12 classrooms that we painted for them. And the only problem was there were only 4 classrooms on every floor. So to move all our paints up, it was a lot of work. Thankfully, we have all these nice men who go to the gym finally. So they're carrying everything and going up. And it was my fault. One of the boxes was not taped on the bottom. But I was just like, let's just go, please, fill. Because we'd been there since 7 in the morning. And it was already 5, and we were like, just pack up and leave, pack up and leave. So I hand the box over to this guy called Yuvraj. Yuvraj goes, it's light, no? And I'm like, no, you're very strong, carry it. And he's coming down the stairs, and he just turned it around like this to say, are you sure all the paint is here? And that box was filled with only red paint. So the red paint fell, blasted on the staircase, and we were so tired. We just stood there like this.
I know. What can you do?
I don't want to clean this. But now I have to clean this. And Yuvraj is like, he kept the box down on the paint and just sat like this.
At the time of leaving it.
Yeah, when everything is done. So my entire team came because they heard the explosion. And then everyone's standing on one staircase. And they're just looking down. And we're looking up and we're like, and someone in the crowd goes, "The building is on its period, let's go."
That's what I was about to tell actually.
Oh my god, that was at that moment I'm like, I'm gonna come and hit you so hard. But it's one of the funniest things.
Okay, so have you ever taken a decision purely on instinct and did it work out?
Always, I am very I'm not a very calculated person. I'm a very driven by my heart person.
Okay. What's the most unexpected lesson life has taught you?
Don't take decisions when you're heartbroken. There's a whole TED talk that I gave about this, and most of my decisions that I've taken when I'm heartbroken are usually fueled by vengeance or like really ugly emotions, which they cloud your judgment a lot. So when you're heartbroken, you have to put yourself first. You have to think about a decision from what you will gain out of it and not what other people will lose out of it. So that was one of the most important lessons that I've learned.
This TEDx, I wanted to ask you, like, how was the process? Like, you have to apply for it, or how is it?
I was approached by the TEDx.
Oh.
So TEDx, I basically independently organized TED Talks, and I was approached by RD College, and one of the students who was on their board had actually participated with us, and she's now a really good friend as well. So they said, you know what? I think you should give a talk because it's very seldom that we see someone who's a doctor who's going into a different profession. So that was my first TEDx.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. So feather in your cap also, right?
Yes, truly.
And what coincidence is, you are like TEDx speaker and my next guest is also a TEDx speaker.
Nice.
Like so happy. What is this? Like both, that is like really an achievement for you people, right? It's not a simple thing. At least, right?
Why should we pay you again? So both of these ideas of putting intention into what people are doing plus doing something for the school is what gave birth to Volunteer Canvas, where we were like, we're not gonna look for sponsorships, we're not gonna look for people to help us, we're not gonna become a charity, we're gonna actually get people involved to help people. And it's not going to be in a charitable sense at all. It's going to be in a sense where they're learning a skill that they can apply later on. So if they go home and they're like, okay, I have a wall and it's looking plain. Should I call an artist to come and paint it for me? They can just, instead of scrolling on Instagram to find the right artist, they can say, you know what, today I'm an artist, I'm going to do it myself. So that was the idea behind Volunteer Canvas. And the first school that we painted has a 15-foot tall astronaut, which was painted by just 15 people. Oh. And ever since then, Volunteer Canvas evolved into something that diversified from government schools. We've had so many public spaces. You can see the Jaya Mahal Park. You can see Kidurani Channamma Stadium in Jayanagar. You can see Airlines. Airlines was like my personal art gallery at this point. Meida and Koramangala. So many cafes all over Bangalore. You can see the Peck. You can see Bistro Claytopia. You can see Clayworks Barista. So many places all over Bangalore have what we created on them. And yeah.
Okay. So what does happiness mean to you?
Peace, contentment, and not worrying about who's going to scream at me because I'm my own boss.
Lovely. What's something you're genuinely excited about right now?
I am genuinely excited about all the opportunities that are coming my way. And hopefully this year is the year when creativity goes national and we start doing Volunteer Canvas in other cities.
All the best, man. How much time do you think you spend scrolling on your phone each day?
It's crazy. It'll be at least 6 or 7 hours. I'm not even. But apart from that, like I like having white noise in the background when I'm working. So like just my Netflix watch, like even if I wouldn't have watched anything, will be around 7 to 8 hours.
Is it? Okay. Which of your paintings on the walls of Bangalore do you like the most? And which one was the difficult one?
For me, the most special one will be the Starry Night that we did in my terrace. Because I've painted around 350 murals all over Bangalore, but that Starry Night was the only mural that my grandpa saw. Oh. Because he had TV and he had a NG tube and everything. So he wouldn't come out of the house that often when I finally started. So the first and the only wall that we saw, all of us painting, was that one wall on our terrace.
That's so sweet, actually. At least he got that opportunity to
Exactly,
see,
to see
no?
what happened.
I know.
So that was a very special wall for me. And
Which is a difficult one.
we did this wall for BNMIT. It was for their MBA department. It was a 30-foot long wall and it was 10 feet high. Our workshops usually end at 1 o'clock. We start at 10, we end at 1. But that one wall, I underestimated how detailed it was. So we ended up painting all the way till 10:30 at night.
Oh my goodness.
And we had such beautiful participants who would literally like, we're not going to let you do this alone. So I think out of the 20 people who came, 5 or 6 of them stayed back till 9:30 to help us finish. And I was like, yeah, adopting.
You have that facility there, you know? Yeah. Oh, that was the toughest
one.
So that is like you had to complete in one day. Is it like that?
I prefer completing everything in one day, so I don't need to just keep going.
Correct. This airlines one, it's happening like that for you.
No. I genuinely enjoy doing it because a lot of people, I get to talk to a lot of people and spread awareness about creativity. I want to empower people to come and create on a much larger scale instead of sticking to a tiny canvas. So when they see us drawing, they come and they go, oh, I want to paint with you. And we're like, yeah, you can. But you know what? Why don't you join us for the workshop next week? You can learn how to do it on a much bigger scale.
Correct.
So yeah, that's all we've been doing.
Yeah, very good. So what is that one piece of advice you would give to your younger self?
I think she had to go through all the hardships that she went through for me to be here. So I think the only advice I would tell her is to spend more time with the people you love, because you never know when you're going to lose them.
I know. So you didn't do that. Well done.
I think that was something that, because I'd be so consumed in like studying and like doing my art and working on myself and everything, that somewhere along the way I lost the essence of the people around me. And that's one thing that I'll regret forever, because I think the last year that my grandpa was alive and he was sick, I was so busy painting the whole city red that I didn't realize that the person who helped me paint in the first place needed me the most.
That's a regret for you, right?
Yeah.
I always tell this, please don't take loved ones for granted.
Yeah.
Because you never know. Life is so fragile. So what keeps you motivated on difficult days?
I think it boils down to my partner again. It's him showing up and saying, I know it's all looking like it's down in the dumps, but if anyone can get out of it, it's you. And he won't go the extra mile to say, you went through this, so what is this for you? But he will just say, you've been through so much, but you've come out of it, and this is nothing when compared to what you've been through. So that's something that keeps me going.
You are very blessed in that way, right? So happy for you, man.
Thank you.
Now some hypothetical questions. So, if you could have dinner with any person, alive or not, who would it be?
My grandpa.
Oh.
Yeah. There was a time when I
Anytime
would
in your
say
life.
Shah Rukh Khan, because like...
Oh, you also Shah Rukh
Yeah.
Khan? Even I'm a big fan, yeah.
How can't you be a fan?
I know. Good. So, if you weren't an artist or a doctor, what would you be?
I think I would be an English lit major who would study English lit.
Good. Very good. So, what's one place you would love to disappear for 1 month?
Scotland or maybe like Sweden, because I want to run and jump in rolling hills and the snow and stuff.
You love those places.
Yeah.
Good. So, if your mood today were a song, which song would it be?
There's this song called Jia Jaise, and that's something, every time I'm on the metro, that's the first song that plays in my playlist. And it's just, a guy telling a girl, I can't live without you, and the girl saying, I've been through so much, I've had like colors and like sadness and everything, but you make everything better. So that's
like your life.
Yeah.
Your life song, actually. Good. So, if you had to describe yourself as a color, which one would it be?
I would like to be people's yellow,
Mm-hmm.
because like the
Yeah.
Coldplay song.
Hmm.
But on a personal note, I think I would like to be pink.
Good. So, if your life were made into a movie, which genre would it be?
I think it would be, one of those inspirational ones. where, like,
Inspiration.
people learn that heartbreak doesn't have to define who you are.
Maybe autobiography kind of thing.
Exactly.
Huh? Okay, good. So, if you could pass one rule that everyone in the world should follow, so what would it
Katrina Kaif once said that if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it. And I think that's the one rule that I would like to pass as well. If you can't be nice to someone, walk away.
That's so lovely. Yeah, if these small things people follow, no, there won't be any mess up.
Exactly. It'll, just like that 1% change in your personality
Exactly.
will make your life a lot better.
True. So, if you want unlimited free travel, where would you want to be? I mean, where would you go first?
Oh, I think Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same here, yeah. I just love Europe, yeah. Really,
Go to
right?
Switzerland, go to the drink
my
factory.
God. And the Shah Rukh vibes we'll
Yeah,
get.
exactly.
I did all those reels also there, you know.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's so lovely, no? Yeah. Good. So, if you could switch life with someone for a day, who would it be?
I think so. Shantanu Hazarika. There's an artist called Shantanu. I love the work.
Shruti Hassan's boyfriend, I guess.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Once, like, yeah.
No, you don't include that in the video. But yeah, Shantanu
Yeah, I
Hazarika.
heard his name.
So he's. I love the work that he does and the opportunities that he gets. And I think he is one of the first people who proved that, like, being an artist doesn't always need to be a struggling artist narrative. So that's the line.
That's lovely. Okay. Now rapid fire.
Okay.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Okay, got it. Silence or music?
Music.
Books or movies?
Movies.
Call or text?
God.
City life or slow life?
City life, always.
That's a different thing again. Because nowadays people are getting into the slow life thing. You
You
know?
get bored. You can't jump into
Absolutely, man. Even I feel the same thing.
Even
I don't know. Like, it all depends. Like,
Yeah.
subjective, right? Yeah. Can't judge in that manner. Okay. Planner or last minute person?
I am a last minute person.
Really? Okay. But then how it works, yeah? Because you have to plan things for your,
Yeah, for my life, I'm a last minute person. If I'm
Not
doing
for
it
the work.
yeah.
Acha. Oh, okay. Got it. Okay. So now wrap up question. Okay.
Yes.
If someone listens to this episode till the end, what would you like them to take away?
I want them to take away the fact that the path that you choose or the path that's chosen for you is not the last thing that you need to walk on. I started with medicine, but now I'm an artist and I'm much happier as an artist. So if you need to start over, even if you're like super young or super old, you should take that leap of faith and just do it.
Lovely. So what is one message you'd like to share with the younger generation?
Don't do something when you're heartbroken. Don't take major life decisions when you're heartbroken. Don't take major life decisions because someone told you that it'll be good. Do your own research. Focus on how it'll benefit you and not how it'll benefit the people around you. That's my message.
Yeah, very nice. So it's lovely talking to you, Bhumika. Seriously, it was so fun. I didn't expect this much fun. Because it's so like easy also, you know.
Because you're a very easy person to talk
Yeah,
to.
even you, yeah. Because not everyone I can expect like this. But my first podcast, I'm ending this way. It's like, I'm so happy.
Same.
I'm so happy and so thankful, yeah, because I'm like, I can't express actually. I'm short of words to, express my thanks to you. It really means a lot. And you can understand that, And lastly, just write it down in,
Yes.
your autographs and with your, favorite quote or something and little about me and my podcast. Okay?
This is so pretty, guys. If she sells this, you should buy it from her. There are quotes on every page.
Yeah, that's a good one actually. I can share the link of the Amazon.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. So this is a small curated token of my love and thanks to you.
Thank you so much. Really
Please
didn't have to.
accept.
You're already so friendly.
Thank you.